now, let's discuss another setback for Giannis and the Bucks. Just 46 seconds into last night's game, another injury. This time it was Giannis rolling what was already an injured ankle. He limped to the locker room before returning to the bench. Here's Coach Mike Budenholzer.
You know, just a sprain. I think we're hopeful that it's not serious. You know, we'll see how he responds to treatment tonight, treatment tomorrow. You know, get an update at some point tomorrow. But I think we're hopeful that it's, you know, well, obviously he couldn't play or finish, not something significant or serious.
So, Jackie, this is kind of a continuation of the conversation I was just having with Woj, right? Someone has something a little bit wrong with them. They think they can go, and then all of a sudden they hurt themselves again. Giannis came into that game last night, probable, already nursing a right ankle sprain. How concerning are these injuries to you?
Everything's concerning to me in this weird season, Rachel, because we already know the players are mentally exhausted, and I think there's evidence all over the place that they're now becoming physically exhausted. If I'm the Bucks, I'm going to exercise all sorts of caution here going forward with Giannis. Even if he tells me he's fine, I'm adding 2 more games, then I'm going to keep him out. They have 10 games left. They're not going to catch Brooklyn for the East crown. I don't think they're in a lot of danger of slipping below New York to the 4th spot. I'm not sure I would play Giannis at all the rest of the way, and I understand the danger of that because you want to have your team in sync and in rhythm as you get into the postseason. But Giannis, an unhealthy Giannis, forget about it for the Bucks. So I'm exercising all sorts of caution going forward here.
Rachel, if we were playing something, nothing, or everything, I would go something here, certainly, because there is a level of concern because the biggest predictor of future injury is past injury. And not only is he nursing an ankle injury with his right leg from just a few weeks ago, but let's not forget the bubble, right? And how that transpired. This has been something that has been plaguing him for a while, right? So I do think that that needs to be something that is highlighted here in this situation. And it's so close to the playoffs starting. They're not going to be in the play-in situation, but obviously, so in 3 weeks, the playoffs start, the real playoffs start, right? Beyond the play-in. And that's just not a lot of time when you're nursing an injury like this that continues to hamper him.
And I know people have made a lot over the last couple seasons that the Bucks have lost, I believe, their first playoff game both years, the last 2 years, to a number 8 seed. And, oh, gee, what's wrong with them? And this year they better go into the playoffs more ready. Guess what? They won both of those series very handily. So even if, Jackie, as you say, Giannis doesn't come back until the playoffs, even if they lose that first game, we have been shown that they have the ability to pull the series out without much effort. And look, it's not just re-injuring. We saw with Jamal Murray the other night, right? He had an injury on one side of his lower body, came back maybe a little early, right? He said he really was just so eager to play. He had to get back in there because we know Jamal and how competitive he is. And then, of course, compensation injury, it seems like, on the other side. So whether it's Giannis, whether it's LeBron, it's a lot that these superstars and their teams are balancing since, as you note, that's the whole ball game. If LeBron or Giannis is hurt for most of the playoffs, that is the end of the road for both of those teams. I want to move on to the Wolves. They beat the Warriors last night by 12. Minnesota out-rebounded Golden State 57-34. After the game, Steve Kerr lamented his team's effort on the glass and called for a referendum on the art of the box out. Take a listen.
You know, what killed us was the rebounding. We obviously we have a size disadvantage, but that doesn't account for the 16 offensive boards they had. I thought at least 7 or 8 times we didn't box out. Somebody came in from the weak side. We didn't hit them, and they got an extra possession out of it. And when that happens, it's almost impossible to win.
George, you've seen the Warriors up close several times this year. Do you understand Steve's frustration?
Certainly, I understand Steve's frustration for the entire season, to be honest with you. But in this particular case, I think he's right. And I think that this is part of a byproduct that we're seeing of teams wanting to increase their pace, Rachel, because the details, right, aren't necessarily there because everyone's like, I got to get out to my spot on offense. And it's like, oh, hey, wait, we got to secure the ball first, right? That plays into this particular situation. I would say this. Look, I covered for a long time those LeBron, Wade, Bosh teams who were undersized as well. Not comparing them to this Warriors team, but as far as a size is concerned, they didn't have as much. They don't have very much size, just like this team doesn't. And they were told, hey, look, you guards, you forwards, everybody's got to go and rebound, and everybody's got to do the little things. And I think that with this particular Warriors team or any team that's undersized, that needs to be a point of emphasis.
I've been hoping for 3 years someone would bring this up. Because here's the thing about defensive boxing out. If you do it properly, it doesn't matter what size you are. The ball goes up, you turn, you make contact with your player, either with your arm or preferably with your rear end, and you take them off the glass. You can be 6'2" and do that to a 7-footer if you do it properly. Bam Adebayo is a good example of someone that boxes out. The Lopez brothers are good. You know, some of the bigs are good. Taj Gibson, who's not a huge guy, is a great guy at boxing out. But my goodness, everybody else turns and says, I'm athletic now. I can outjump everybody. Let me grab this ball. Not so much. I'm so glad Steve Kerr said this. This drives me crazy. It really does.
Steve is there to answer all of your basketball fundamental needs, Jackie.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely. Certainly this season with the way his Warriors are playing. All right. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.